Financial freedom seems to be in everyone's mind, and for a good reason. Study shows that around 70% of Americans don't enjoy their job. Now, with these statistics, no wonder why people are looking to be financially free. But there are a few things that many people do that makes it very hard to get out of the rat race. We'll call them the 7 financial sins. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to not miss any of the videos we release every week. And let's get started. Sin number 1. Most people do not plan their finances. Many people get their paycheck and start paying their dues, their groceries, and a few other things and hope they have enough money left over at the end of the month. By planning your savings, your living expenses, and your spending budget ahead of time, you'll have more control over your finances and avoid overspending. Most people do not have a very clear idea of where their money is going, and in many cases, people overestimate how much they actually have in their bank accounts when they're making a purchase. So I want to give you a challenge. For the next 30 days, check your bank account every day. Sometimes it might not look pretty, but you will be much more conscious of what you have and where your money goes. And it will help you make the decision whether you should buy those $85 sunglasses or not. When you actively manage your own money, you become better at it, and you'll be more prepared and much more effective when you get the opportunity to manage more money. Sin number 2. Buying with consumer credit. According to CNBC, there's over $747 billion owed in consumer credit cards. That averages to be over $16,000 per person holding a credit card. Now, there are a few benefits of using credit cards, like building your credit line, which is important. Many cards have protection insurance in case of loss or fraud, and they might also have benefits like cashback, miles for airlines, and points that can be redeemed. But credit cards, if not used correctly, can affect your finances in a very negative way. This is because credit cards encourage people to spend more money than they have. You can have $100 in your pocket and be able to spend $1,000. And since you don't have to pay the full amount back right away, it's much easier to blow your budget. Like stated before, not planning your finances can lead to overspending, which is financially dangerous. But even more dangerous is to overspend on consumer credit. This is because credit cards have very high interest rates that can go from 8% up to 30% per month. Sin number 3. Making minimum payments on a credit card. So my buddy Jerry here has $5,000 in credit card debt with an interest of 16%. And he happily makes the minimum payments of $350 since it doesn't eat up much of his paycheck. The problem is, Jerry hasn't done the math, so he doesn't realize that the interest alone adds $800 to his debt. And even though he's paying every month, his debt keeps growing, which means his interest gets higher too. And soon, Jerry finds himself with more debt than he can handle. Think about it. Credit cards have very high interest. The average interest rate for consumer credit cards is over 15%. So let's say that we have $1,000 in credit card debt and we pay the minimum payment of $50. We get charged $150 in interest but only pay $50. Now we have $1,100 in debt. Next month, we pay the minimum $50 and now we get charged $165 in interest since now our debt is bigger. And our debt grew again to $1,250. If we keep doing this, our interest rate fee will compound over time until our debt is too big to be able to pay for. Sin number 4. Not saving for retirement or financial freedom. Many people who save money save for a rainy day or to buy cool toys, but very few put away money for their retirement or financial freedom. Think about it. You might be young and able to produce income now, but you might not always be able to do that. And with Social Security failing, you cannot just leave that responsibility to the government or even to your children. Your retirement and financial freedom is your responsibility, and even if it's not much, every little bit counts, especially if you put it to work and have it compound with investments. Think about it. If you only put $100 a month with a 7% return after taxes and fees, in 35 years, you'll have over $167,000. And that is just with $100 a month. It pays off to start investing. The earlier, the better. Sin number 5. Making money decisions based on emotion. Making financial decisions with emotion can leave us in a very vulnerable position. Simply because when we are in a sensitive emotional state, we are not as strategic and rational with our thinking, and we are more likely to make mistakes. This can be both positive and negative emotions. If we are very happy and optimistic in a sort of manic mode, we can make investments that might look like great ideas and quick ways to make cash until you start to think about them logically. Or if we're in a negative state, we tend to be very unpredictable. So avoid making important decisions after a major event that causes an emotional shift. This will help you to use your intelligence and rationality when making decisions instead of emotion, and will make you much smarter with your money. Think about Steve Jobs. Out of anger for being fired from Apple, he sold all of his ownership in the company. Eventually, he got a few shares back, but was only left with 0.6% of the company, which is still worth around $1.8 billion. But if he would have avoided taking an emotional decision, he would have kept over $66 billion of Apple. Sin number 6. Focusing too much on money and neglecting the process. Very rich and successful people like Richard Branson, Oprah, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and many others have the same philosophy. You have to love the process. You've got to be passionate. As Richard Branson says, if you go into business only to make money, you are better off doing nothing. One of the things that I'm sure you've noticed is that when you try to go for the money while neglecting and disrespecting the process, you end up losing. For example, if you have a business but no interest in creating a relationship with your customers, you can make a quick sell, but you'll be missing out on a lifetime of business by neglecting this process. Sin number 7. Not educating ourselves financially. Money is something that is not taught in school, and the majority of our parents were not wealthy either. So learning about personal finance and how to manage your money, how to leverage and grow your money is your own responsibility. Neglecting this area will keep us uneducated and therefore less likely to become financially independent. Alright guys, let me know if you agree with this list, and if I'm missing anything, let us know in the comments. If you are on your way to achieve financial freedom, what is your process and your philosophy? I am always very interested in what you have to say. As always guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next.